The Washington Post reports on a survey which asked college graduates how they feel about their major. And remarkably, it says that nearly 2 in 5, so almost 40% of American college graduates have major regrets. That is, they regret their major. Debbie goes, hello, I may be one of those. Now, Debbie was a political science major. And, the funny thing here is that it says that almost half of humanities and arts majors regret their choice. Enrollment in those disciplines is shrinking rapidly. And the people who seem most satisfied with their majors are people who have majored in so-called STEM subjects. So what's STEM? Well, science, technology, engineering, medicine. So people who have gone into those kind of, let's call them professional or practical disciplines, and frankly, disciplines that it's easier to get a job. It's you get much better paid. I mean, think, for example, about on the one hand, an English major, a sociology major, a political science major versus, let's say, an engineering major, computer science major, or pre-med. So I think, and it's all been long known that if you want to go into a field that makes money, you should go into those fields. This is, by the way, quite frankly, why my own parents were like, Dinesh, we kind of expect you to major in economics. We want you to go to business school. They were thinking very much in these kind of practical utilitarian terms. I mean, part of the irony, and honey, this is true for you as well, is that even though you didn't use your major for 25 years, you're actually using it now. And I am probably unusual in that I have used my major my whole life. In other words, even though I wasn't a political science major, by the way, I was an English major, but I studied a very liberal arts curriculum, which is to say, and some of it, quite honestly, I studied after college. I never took a single philosophy course at Dartmouth, but I'm very interested now both in political philosophy and philosophy generally. In fact, once I finish the Odyssey, I might very well pivot to kind of a course, almost like a course. This could take me a year or more on the great philosophers, and not necessarily to try to cover them systematically, but to cover what was sort of the maybe essence of their thought. What is the big idea that this guy is known for? What did he contribute to the corpus of human knowledge? So to me, there actually is great value in a liberal arts major. And it certainly is, it's not necessarily utilitarian, it's the value of widening and deepening you as a human being. Now, quite honestly, I think that if someone's perspective is widened, they have a greater sense of their own position in space and time, they have an understanding of history, an understanding of different disciplines and how they interact together. This is very useful, whatever you go into. So you can be an English major, and many people are, and then they go on to law school, they go on to business school. So you end up in a practical career, but people look back and go, I don't regret being an English major at all. In fact, I'm much better off than if I huddled down and started studying law or business, right from my freshman year in college. I'm really glad I read books that I may not get to read later in life. I think really the problem in the universities today is not the fact that they're offering English majors and political science majors, but the mind-numbing leftist indoctrination that substitutes for true learning and true knowledge. Because education is really about wonder, about a sense of, wow, about puzzles, about how do we think about this and what are different ways to understand that. And I hope even in my own introduction to Dante and then now to Homer, I give you a sense of the fact that we are dealing with other cultures and other people who see the world differently than we do, and we can always benefit from a kind of comparison to the way our own society looks at things. So this is really what the liberal arts is supposed to do, but it's not what it does today on the campus. So I think it's a very good thing that young people are running away from these leftist militant camps that are nothing more than madrasas of our own. We have left-wing madrasas, the same as you have radical Islamic madrasas in places like Pakistan, and they're producing the same ignorant, fanatical product. The fanaticism is pointed in a different direction. There it's pointed in terms of radical Islamic ideology. Here it's pointed in the direction of, the trans issue or whatever. But in both cases, you're dealing with the fanaticism that if you really believe in knowledge, you want to stay far away from.